Hey everyone, I know it's been a while since I did one of these recent events. Uh, Put it in my head, I want to give a PSA. Trigger warning, we're going to be talking about suicidal ideation. Not going to be for everybody to hear this. It's going to be hard for me to get out and hard for some people to hear, but I think it needs to be said. When someone is going through depression, it is an absolute war inside their head. They are literally fighting for their life. They are their own worst enemy. They are telling themselves, nobody cares about me, nobody loves me, there's no point in this. They're just beating themselves into the ground. And that is the disease. That's the whole point of it. Some people are fortunate enough to not believe in it because they haven't had even close enough to the experience to understand how it can affect you. I'm very jealous of those folks. I describe it as being as close to hell as I never want to be because it's a complete distance from everything in life. Things that usually bring you joy don't anymore. You're reaching out for life preservers, and there's people there throwing them to you, but you don't see them. You tune them out. It's hard. But the flip side of that is if you have somebody in your life that is going through depression and you care about them, you need to understand that. Most of their thought patterns are self-deprecating. So the slightest thing that they see that will feed that thought, they're going to cling to. So when you're dealing with somebody with depression, you have to be very careful and you have to have a lot of patience because it's very frustrating to deal with somebody who's constantly negative. It's kind of a catch-22. I try to stay away from negative people now, but the truth is, screw it, I'll be honest. The truth is, most of the time in my head, I do believe that nobody cares about me. Nobody loves me. They tolerate me. They use me because I have certain gifts. I bring certain things out of people. I don't know how I do it. It's just something I've had for a long time. That's the reality of my world. I don't really have friends. I just have people that make it not hurt as much when they do what they do. Not a pity party. Just I'm being real here. This is real talk. The only thing that keeps me alive most of the time, because in reality, all of us, every single human being on this planet, we are one intrusive thought away from from turning ourselves from an is to a was. That's reality. For me, I spent a lot of time, fighting for my life, like reprogramming myself. I still haven't licked this. Like, I know it's there. I'm fully aware that it's there. Sometimes self-awareness is its own personal hell. Because sometimes you get ahead of it and sometimes you don't. I have to stop myself every time and make a choice. Getting back to, I program myself, I changed my faith, I changed my beliefs somewhat to a degree. I had to convince myself to believe in reincarnation. So if I check out early, all I'm going to do is come right back and start all over again, and I don't want to do that. That is literally the thing that keeps me going most times. But I do it, you know, because I'm aware that it's a choice. And every day I choose, you know, to fight for life because not so much for myself. If we're being honest, I'm over it. I'm ready to. I don't fear death. I welcome it, but I'm not going to rush it. Again, but I make the choice because I know the hell that I go through, and I want to help others that are going through similar experiences. So now to the point of all this. I apologize. My go all over. Going back to if you are dealing with somebody that has depression, they are going to look for signs that affirm their thinking. Um, so when you get frustrated with them for being upset at themselves, they pick up on that and they use that to feed that depression. When you go out of your way to make them aware that you're going to do something without them, that affirms to them that you are just tolerating them. You don't want their company. You just feel obligated in some way. And when you make them aware that you're doing things without them, it doesn't give them the drive to want to get out of the funk and go join you. Again, it reinforces that negative thinking like, oh, you'd rather do it without me? Proof. That's just one example. Some others are, we get frustrated because we are not in any capacity to function on a daily basis. Deep depression, you can't go to work, you lose your job, things happen. Trying to bully somebody into, hey, you have to get your shit together because you have to you have responsibilities. That's not helping. All that is pushing more pressure, and it makes them feel even worse about themselves because they are trying. They're trying to get over. They don't want to feel that way. But again, the nature of the disease is they are going to misconstrue everything they see to confirm. It's something all humans do. It's just when you're depression. I think of it like they call it the death spiral with ants, ironically, where they lay that set and they all just keep spiraling till they end. That's about what depression is like, because you get stuck in that cycle of that self-deprecating thought pattern until finally it can't run anymore and it shuts itself down. Trying to find a cure, folks. It's not easy, I do voice it. I'm not as open with people about how I feel, not because I'm trying to hide it from them, but because when I do open my mouth to get help, the help isn't there. I'm waiting now. I told my doctor 2 weeks ago that I'm in a bad place again, and I've still got 2 months to wait for an appointment to see somebody. That's the reality. So I'm keeping myself alive day to day with the power of choice. And it terrifies me that one of these days I'm going to not make the choice to keep going. I'll be honest, at the moment I'm living on spite. I'm so pissed off at the world that I just, I'm just here to piss it off, basically. Damn, that's rough. But that's the truth. That's reality. Or my reality, I should say. You know, and all this study of who I am and understanding myself and trying to get myself together, I've noticed that we live in a society that actually feeds this. You know, everything is transactional. Nobody does anything just for the sake of doing it. It's tough, but it can be done. I'm living proof. So if you're out there and you're struggling, know that there is somebody that understands your pain. It's hard, but try not to give up. There is a promise of a better tomorrow. You just have to create it. But I get in your current mindset, you're in no position to do that. Just try and be patient with yourself. When you can get there, then take this time as a time out to prepare. Because when you get out of this, you can hit the ground running. That's what I keep telling myself. And it seems to work. You know, it's the reason I do a lot of things, that I make myself function. Because I have to bide my time until I get to live again. Anyway, I'm sure that was rough for a few, but thanks for taking the time. Thanks for listening. Hope I helped somebody. And I'm going to try and keep this going as long as I can for the ones that it helps. We're in this together, right? Have a good one.